Welcome back to the last segment of our Dickinson Cages install here on the RSX. We're going to talk about the dash bar and the Earnhart bar. All right, so as you noticed, we saved the dash bar for last on the install. The reason for that is when you're putting in the door bars on either side, you're putting several bars in that need to line up versus in the front just one. So we get the door bars where we want them and get those in. Again, the cage is not locked down yet, so I can still slide this cage around in here. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna put the dash bar in. Now the dash bar on your paperwork is listed as a trim to fit. It comes the same width as the rear hoop, but most of the time when you build these cars, you'll end up having to trim this down just a little bit to get everything to line up in the front. Depending on how high you set your dash bar determines also how much you're gonna have to trim off of it. If you end up into the curve up here, you're gonna trim a little bit more. If you're a little further down, you probably won't have to trim as much. The other thing that you have to trim to fit is gonna be the Earnhart bar. And this bar will be in the middle of the dash and it'll tie in the middle of the halo. We leave it long so that as you're building the car, some folks like to have this dash bar low. Some folks like to run it up here even with the top of the cowl panel. We run it generally a little lower in our cars, just from a side impact perspective. The more centered it is, the better it's gonna hold those two ends of the cage together. The higher you go, the benefit is you don't have that obstacle for your knees to hit in the event of a rollover or something like that. So that's really going to be preference for the builder, where he's going to put this. From a performance perspective, you're going to gusset it here anyway, so it's going to end up being secure. Before you weld this in, go ahead and take a measurement from here to here, and then when you go to set this up on the table, take that measurement, mark it, and then notch this to fit. If you do this and you leave this loose, you can put it in and then move all this around until it all fits together. If you lock this in first, this becomes more critical to make sure it's 100% right to the right length. So just from an ease perspective, I like to just go ahead and get this where I think it's gonna be, and then I can move everything around. If I feel like I need to make a change, I can always pull this out and trim it down some more to pull the bar up. But that's how I do it. I think that's the simplest way. And we're gonna go ahead and do that now and get this one wrapped up.
I'm gonna show you how to notch something. See the angle that it's going at? What you're gonna do is you're gonna come up here and you need the same part right here. So this is what you need, pretty much, right there. Okay, so we're gonna keep this thing straight. And what I'm gonna do is bird mouth it. I'm gonna come in here with a grinder and I'm gonna cut straight there. I'm gonna cut straight right there, then we're gonna clean it up and then the weld to cover all that. And that's how you notch when you don't have a notcher. So let me cut this and I'm gonna show it to you.
That's how it's done.
Weld it up.
Time to install it.
Welcome back. So we just got the Earnhart bar in. We ended up showing you how to notch this if you don't have a notcher. We set the dash bar, everything is tacked in place. So what we're going to talk about now is an add-on for the front, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the bags of gussets you get when you get the Frontier 50 or a Warrior 50 roll cage kit, and where we like to use them. So once you have everything set, we do offer a windscreen setup where you can actually put this in. It comes already welded. You can weld it in here. Takes a lot of the guesswork out of building one. That's available through your dealer. Also, we're to the point now in the cage where we're going to start taking a look at using our gussets. And where we want to do that at is where I like to use them is the joints around the driver's area. And what a gusset does is when you put it in between two bars like this, it actually increases the surface area of that connection. So if you end up getting a force on one of these bars, we talked about energy earlier, that energy runs through the gusset and will help distribute that. If you have a motion going this way or wants to pull the two bars away or together, this will actually help secure that joint there, and it actually will move the failure point away from the weld further up on the bar. You get 10 of these gussets with every cage kit, so again, I like to use them around the driver's area, anywhere, any joint where the driver is going to be sitting. This cage kit has our adjustable upper seat mount, which we had put in the video that we had done the rear hoop. We had put the adjustable seat mount in there. It could go in at the very end if you choose. We chose to do it at the beginning because we were going to be putting this in as an entire assembly. And then we have our lower seat mounts, which we had put together again in an earlier video where we put it on the cage. So what we have now is basically our lower is movable and our upper is movable as well. It fits this way, it moves side to side and in and out. If you needed more height on it, you could flip it around and then run it up like this to get it closer to the top of the seat. It really depends on your seat size and where it best lines up with the angle of the seat or the shape of the seat. So what we're going to do here is if we had the driver here and we had the seat that he was going to be using, we would go ahead and get the seat set in, and we would figure out the width that we would want to set these bars at. And then we would try to figure out our mounting point. This kit does not have the side mounts, but we'll have a picture of that for you. We actually sell an adjustable mount for side mounting the seat to these lower bars. Once you have these set, what we finally will do is we will lock them in by welding them along the top here, along these the adjusting tubes. And then we'll put this in on the front, and we'll go ahead and weld around the tubes here. We're also going to tie it into our angle iron frame over here, just to make sure it's nice and secure. The other thing you could do is you could tie it into this crossbar, and also try to tie it into that tunnel over there as well, to make sure that everything is nice and secure and it's not going to get easily jostled around and wreck. The other advantage of having this these adjustable seat setup is when you go to put the seats in and the driver gets in, you can really kind of dial this in to where the driver is comfortable. And let's say you don't necessarily want to weld it yet, you can bolt all these pieces in place, and then if you needed to make a change, you can easily pull that out and then eventually weld it all together. Caveat, when you're done, before you go racing, every joint needs to be secured. You don't want any of these joints being able to move. They all have to be either welded or bolted in place. All right, so we're gonna move to the back of the car. This is another area where our kits come with a 47-inch rear kicker, and rules and preference all play into how you're gonna run these. Some tracks allow you to run a strut bar between your strut towers, and then you can run your kickers into that. Some tracks require these kickers to be in front of the center line of the rear axle. Some will let you run them all the way to the trunk. If you need a longer bar, we have a 6-foot upgrade available for that, where you can go to the back. Otherwise, what we do here is the notched end of this bar, we mount to the top of the hoop, and then the bottom end, we will trim to wherever we want it to run. If you're gonna run it into here, maybe you put a plate here, but or maybe you'll run a bar across here and run it into that. Really, again, it kind of goes back to when you're building your foundation for the car. Get with your tech man, get with your rule book, find out what they're looking for, what's acceptable, and make sure that it's gonna meet the rules. These are trimmed to fit on this end, so whatever you put in here, make sure you make a nice cut or a notch in it so that those things fit up tight, and make sure you weld it all the way around. Wherever you put it, make sure you can get all the way around the bar. You don't want to get it up against something and not be able to complete the weld around the tube. Thank you for joining us on this series. We hope that you were able to answer some questions. if this was your first time building a race car, congratulations on doing it with us. And if you have any questions, feel free to email us or contact any of your dealers.
All right, guys, so that does conclude our build series on how to install a Dickinson cage. We personally want to thank Larry for driving all the way down from Minnesota to allow us the privilege to make this series with him. If you guys have not ordered through any of your local dealers, here is a list on the screen of everyone available. Whatever one is closest to you, be sure to reach out to them. If there's one that you prefer more than the other, we can all help you with that. We're all associated with Larry, and so be sure to reach out to them. But above all, safety is priority. When these cages get installed in these cars, whether you buy a Dickinson cage, any other cage in the market, priority number one is make sure you do it right. And if you are not confident in your welding or in the knowledge of doing it, like he said earlier, get somebody there to help you. Don't just think that you can jump in and do it yourself without asking people. That's what your local dealers are for. They're here to help you. We've all been in contact with Larry on how to do it, so that's why we decided to make these series videos. So like I said, from FFR to Larry, thank you for choosing us. Thank you for letting us be a part. We hope these videos were educational for you guys. Please reach out to either Larry or any of the dealers that we put on the screen if you have any questions, if you have any add-ons that you want to do, or if you have any ideas that we can make this program better. We're trying to grow this class and the Crown Vic stuff and make Larry move to the top and retire him officially so that he can and hang out at the house. And so, but thank you guys so much. Consider subscribing, share these videos with your friends if you have any who need help with these cage installs. And until then, we'll see y'all in the next one. What you guys say?
Oh no. Like, comment, subscribe, or else.